species I spot in different parts of the forest. Here's a map of my tribal land. It's divided into 36 map squares. Each map square contains the number of species found in that area. We're standing in the area represented by D3. We found 15 different species in this area. So let's insert 15 here in the D3 square. Done! Only 3 more areas to check out and the map will be complete. Meanwhile, we have enough information to start working. Let's begin by putting the data into a frequency table.
Find location D3 on the map and enter the number into the species column of the frequency table.
Right on! Are you going to use the data in the frequency table to build a bar graph?
I'm not sure how helpful the results would be using a bar graph, but we can give it a try.
I see what you're saying, Doc. This graph doesn't show much. Almost all the bars equal 1. What do you think we should do?
Let's create a histogram instead. This type of graph will allow to combine ranges of values into intervals, allowing for more thorough analysis of the diversity of species in tribal territory. To build a histogram from a frequency table, first we need to sort the data. Click the down arrow to sort the data. We use a histogram to represent a range of values, or in other words, an interval. Next, we'll make a frequency interval table. So we need to find out how many map squares appear in each of our 6 intervals. Remember to use the scroll bar on the frequency table to see all the values.
Let's start with the first row. How many map squares have only 1 to 6 species? Click the rows in the frequency table with an interval of 1 to 6. Okay, so now we'll fill in the number of map squares into the last rows of our nifty little frequency interval table.
Beautiful job, everyone. That's the way to organize the data. Looks like we're ready to build that histogram now. There were between 1 and 6 different types of species in Dr. Rio's territory in 3 of the little map squares. So, our first bar climbs itself up onto the 3rd map square line. Your turn! Finish up the remaining bars on your own. Use your arrow buttons to fill in each bar, then click the check mark. Super duper. Now we have our histogram.
So how is this histogram going to help the animals, Dr. Rio?
Let's take a look and see. A histogram is a graph that uses bars. Each bar equals a range of values called intervals. The height of the bar represents the frequency of that interval. Each bar in the histogram is called a class. How many classes does this histogram have?
In how many map squares did we find between 19 and 24 different species?
Click on the class that contains the most map squares.
I just received data from my fellow tribesmen for the last 3 map squares. Let's update our histogram so we can identify a location for the animal preserve and the farming area.
Click on the bar or bars that need to be updated with the new data. Then click the check mark. So now there are 6 map squares in the 31 to 36 interval.
Data labels are often placed above the bars to make a graph easier to read. These numbers show the number of map squares in each interval. For example, there were 7 to 12 types of species spotted in 8 map squares.
What is the total number of map squares represented on this histogram? What is the total? What is what is what is what is what
So remind me, what does all this histogram stuff have to do with creating an animal preserve, Dr. Rio?
Well, now that we have our histogram, we can look to see if we spot any patterns that will help my tribe decide whether to create an animal preserve or clear the land for farming.
Right on. Let's check it out.
So, in how many map squares do we have less than 13 species? Right on. I see you added the first 2 classes because they have less than 13 species. So smart.
Click on the map squares that have less than 13 species.
The squares with the least amount of species are all connected. Interesting.
Aw, darling, your tribe should put the farming area in those 11 squares, so the least amount of species will be disturbed.
But what about the animal preserve? We need to protect as many species as possible. So how many map squares contain more than 24 species? So how many map squares contain more than 24 species? Try adding the data labels above the 25 to 30 and the 31 to 36 classes to get your answer. That's 15. So with the greatest number of diverse species in those 15 map squares, that's the perfect spot for the animal preserve. It'll be a little piece of paradise on Earth.
Well, it depends whether the map squares border each other. Let's bring up the map again and take a look.
Click on the map squares with over 24 types of species.
You've got them all.
We found our animal preserve. Yay!
The tallest trees in the rainforest contain 3 distinct layers: the understory, the canopy, and the emergent layer. Animals of the rainforest that inhabit these trees tend to spend most of their time in only one of the layers.
Ah, the harpy eagle. How many harpy eagles were spotted 10 to 39 meters high in a tree? Ah, the harpy eagle. How many harpy eagles were spotted 10 to 39 meters high in a tree? These 3 intervals fall between the 10 to 39 meter range. Add the heights of the bars together.
In which rainforest tree layer would you most expect to spot a harpy eagle?
So how many jaguars were spotted altogether?
In which rainforest tree layer would you most expect to spot a jaguar? In which rainforest tree layer would you most expect to spot a jaguar? In which rainforest tree layer? In which? In which? In which? In which?
How many sloths were spotted altogether? Of the 19 total sloths that were spotted, how many were not seen in the 30 to 39 interval? Of the 19 total sloths that were spotted, how many were not seen in the 30 to 39 interval? In which rainforest tree layer would you most expect to spot a sloth?
We definitely need to do what we can to stop uncontrolled clear-cutting of the rainforests and protect animal habitats.
What do you think is the best idea? Yes, employees of an animal preserve would know the issues facing the animals of the rainforest and suggest courses of action.
Hey, Luna, look at all these gorgeous plants I found.
Did you know that more than 2/3 of the world's plant species are found in the rainforest?
Splendid! That means plenty of food and shelter for all the amazing animals.
Plants also provide much of the world's oxygen supply.
Build a histogram based on the values in the frequency table. Use the arrow buttons to fill in each. Make the next bar. Make the next bar. Make the next bar. Make the next bar.
Fill in the missing data labels on the histogram. In how many map squares did we spot less than 20 plant species?
In how many map squares did we spot more than 29 plant species?
Hey guys, take a look at this. Volunteers needed to raise funds for Smiles on Wheels, the mobile free dental clinic.
I've heard of that. They travel from school to school giving out free dental care to kids.
Decaying teeth? Let's bring some relief.
We're totally there.
Hi kids, I'm Dr. Abby. Thanks so much for volunteering. Convincing people to contribute money to our free dental clinic requires time and effort.
We want kids to get the dental care they need, Dr. Abby. How can we help?
Well, our newsletters are a big source of funding for Smiles on Wheels. Each month they are mailed out to donors in the community. It's important that we include graphs containing data to show how we help children. I could really use some assistance designing this month's newsletter.
Sounds important. Let's get started.
Yesterday, the 14th of May, our dentist saw many students with tooth decay. Some had as many as 8 cavities.
Ouch!
Here are 3 graphs showing the number of fillings each child received. A box plot, a histogram, and a dot plot. All 3 graphs are based upon the results from May 14th, but not all 3 show the number of students who were treated. Which one doesn't?
Which graph cannot be used to show how many students saw a dentist on May 14th? You're right. Box plots use percentiles and the minimum, maximum, and median. They cannot be used to find totals.
This is a lot of information. Let's start keeping track so we don't get confused. We can use either a histogram or a dot plot to see how many students were treated. They can be used to find totals. Box plots cannot be used to find totals, but they contain a lot of useful information. They show the minimum, maximum, median, quartiles, and outliers.
So how many students saw a dentist on May 14th?
Exactly.
We need to show our donors the number of students with 8 cavities so they understand the gravity of the situation. Which graph can we use to find out how many students received 8 fillings on May 14th? Which graph can we use to find out how many students received 8 fillings on May 14th?
That's right. The line or dot plot is the only graph that shows the total number of students that received 8 fillings.
So the dot plot is the only graph that shows a total for each value. The histogram shows values for entire intervals.
So, how many students received exactly 8 fillings on May 14th?
3 students received 8 fillings.
Looks like we have our first graph. What other information should the donors know about?
Many donors want to see how their money is being used. Let's graph the number of students treated during the 80 school visits our free dental clinic made in the last 4 years. The donors want to make sure the school visits are benefiting many children. Which graph can be used to most easily display the number of visits where our dentist treated over 50 students?
Excellent! The histogram displays the data in intervals, making it easy to see the exact number of visits where over 50 students were treated. Remember that histograms and dot plots can both be used to find totals. But as your data sets get large, the dot plot becomes hard to use. That's why I usually use a histogram if I have more than 50 values in my data set, and a dot plot when I have less than 50 values in my data set. Box plots can also handle large sets of data because their size does not depend on how many values are in the data set.
Okay, so let's take a look at the histogram and find the total number of visits where our dentist treated more than 50 students.
Make sure you are only adding up the bars that represent more than 50 students, and try again. You got it!
Great! The histogram will enable donors to easily see that our dentist made 80 visits to schools over a 4-year period. And there were exactly 65 visits where 51 to 100 children were treated.
Looks like we have our second graph. Smiles on Wheels is an amazing program. It helps so many kids.
You're so right, Olive. Smiles on Wheels has become so successful that we have expanded our services to 2 other cities. I've created 3 graphs displaying the number of students treated each month, so the donors will be able to compare the work that is being done in each of the 3 cities. Let's start by looking at the medians. What is the median number of students treated per month in Bard? There are 3 graphs to look at, but not every one will be helpful.
Awesome. 400 is right. The box plot marks the exact median.
So why couldn't I have used the line or dot plot?
Well, you could use a dot plot to find the median, but to do so, you would have to find the average of the 2 middle numbers. It's just a lot easier to find the median using a box plot.
Whoa, what's going on with those dot plots?
When the range of the data is large, it makes it difficult to create a good-looking dot plot.
This is something we need to make a note of. We should only use dot plots when we have one set of data with a small range of values.
So which graph can be used to most easily compare the 3 cities using their medians?
The box plots allow us to quickly see the medians for all 3 cities and compare them.
This is great. Now donors will be able to quickly scan the box plots and see the impact our dental projects have in all 3 cities.
So box plots are definitely the best when it comes to comparing 2 or more sets of data. But the data is visually appealing in the histogram. Let's see what other comparisons we can make.
In which city were the most students treated in a single month?
Since we are comparing the most amount of students in each city, we should look at the maximum values. Try again. Nice going. The maximum value for Apex is greater than the maximum value for Bard and Cabo. So, the most students treated in a single month were in Apex.
Now, which city has the smallest? Range.
You're doing great. The range is the difference between the minimum value and the maximum value. The arrow represents the range. Look, Cabo's is the smallest. So the dentist and Cabo see almost the same number of students each month.
Some of the ranges might be affected by an outlier. Which city's box plot contains an outlier?
Exactly. The long left whisker in Bard's box plot shows us there was at least 1 month when an unusually low number of students were treated. That's an outlier. There could be many things that happen to explain that.
You're right about that. We were only treating summer school students that month.
Okay, so we have 3 graphs now.
Looks like we have all the information we need. But let's review. A line or dot plot is often a good choice if we have one set of data with a small range of values. So it's a good choice if there are 50 or fewer values in the data set and you want to know totals for each value. In this case, we have one set of data that ranges from 0 to 8 with 45 students treated, and every student's filling total is shown. Histograms are a good choice when there are 50 or more values in a data set. When you want the data grouped in intervals, and the data needs to be visually appealing. In this case, we have 80 school visits. Our student totals are grouped in intervals of 10, and it's easy to see that in 65 school visits, 51 to 100 students were treated. Box plots are often a good choice when there are 2 or more data sets. When you are working with extremely large data sets, and when you want a 5-point summary which can show any unusual observations or outliers.
Here's the newsletter, Dr. Abby. Hot off the press.
Thanks so much, kids. It looks amazing. Hopefully, the data in this newsletter will convince many donors to contribute to Smiles on Wheels.
Making sure kids get the dental care they need is pretty important, Dr. Abby. We're glad we could help.
Remember, don't hold back. Spread some cheer. Step up and volunteer. The total number of volunteers for 20 different school clinics was recorded. Which type of graph would display the volunteer totals for each of the 20 clinics? The total number of volunteers for 20 different school clinics was recorded. Which type of graph would display the volunteer totals for each of the 20 clinics?
I want to know if mammals usually have more teeth than reptiles. Which type of graph would allow me to compare the median number of teeth for mammals and reptiles easily?
The total number of dental clinics hosted for the last 12 months was recorded. Which type of graph would display the clinic's totals for each of the 12 months? The total number of dental clinics, the total number of dental clinics hosted for the last 12 months was recorded. Which type of graph would display the clinic's totals for each of the 12 months?
The number of students treated per month has been recorded for the last 60 months. Which type of graph would allow us to quickly see how many months between 100 and 200 students were treated?
The first and second grade students told the dentist how many teeth they have lost this year. Which type of graph would allow her to compare the median number of teeth lost for each grade level easily? The first and second grade students told the dentist how many teeth they have lost this year. Which type of graph would allow her to compare the median number of teeth lost for each grade level easily? The first and second grade students told the dentist how many teeth they have lost this year. Which type of graph would allow her to compare the median number of teeth lost for each grade level easily?
The number of donations per month has been recorded for the last 60 months. Which type of graph would allow us to quickly see how many months between 75 and 100 donations were made? The nu- the num the nu- the nu- the number of don the 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 num the number of donations per month has been recorded for the last 60 months. Which type of graph would allow us to quickly see how many months between 75 and 100 donations were made?
Which type of data would be best displayed in a dot plot?
Which type of data would be best displayed in a histogram?
Hi there, friends at home. I just got an email from the town planner, Fry Bilderberger. He needs our help laying out a new town. Dear Bella, I need your designing skills to help us decide where to build houses, schools, and stores in our new town.
But what about the natural habitats, Bella?
Wait, bro. Let me finish. We selected locations as preserves for natural wildlife. No building allowed. Please help. Sincerely, Fry Bilderberger. This is going to be so crafty. What do we do first?
Ahem. My great-grandfather designed a hamster metropolis that was legendary. I've got this part, my dear subjects. Follow along now on this interactive map. We'll be using a coordinate plane to locate the best places to build. But first, let's review. A coordinate plane consists of two number lines that intersect at their zeros. Which of these number lines is the x-axis? Which of these number lines is the x-axis? Excellent! So that means that the vertical line is the y-axis. Now, click on the origin. Perfect! The origin is located at the intersection of the x-axis and the y-axis. Point 0, 0.
So, Dr. Cheeks, how do we use all of that information to plot the points?
Aha! Let me enlighten you, my dear boy. When dealing with coordinates, you need to remember that your first number matches with the x value, and the second number matches with the y value.
Thanks, Dr. Cheeks. Now we're ready to plot some points. Let's start with the housing area. Plot the point -3, 1 to represent the first corner of our shape. Nice! -3 is our x-coordinate and 1 is the y.
Let's do the next point.
Plot the point -6, 2. You got it! -6 is our x-coordinate and 2 is our y-coordinate. Plot the point -6, 1. Nice! Plot the point -3, 2. You nailed it! What kind of polygon can we make with these points? You got it! A rectangle has 4 corners and right angles. Okay, so we've located the perfect spot for our housing area.
Now, let's plot the points to locate where the school area will be. Plot the point 1, 4. Be careful! It looks like you switched the x and the y coordinates. Try again. Excellent, my dearie. Plot the point 4, 5. Remember, the first number is found along the x-axis and the second number is found along the y-axis. Try again. We need a point that has an x value of 4 and a y value of 5. So, we'll place the point right here. Plot the point 3, 4. I'm impressed. Plot the point 3, 6. Perfection, my dear little human. Plot the point 1, 6. Righto! What shape will the new school be? Excellent! A pentagon has 5 vertices and we have 5 points here. Moving on now.
Wait! We should check the length of one of the sides. We want to make sure the school will be the right size.
How long is the left side of the school? Fabulous!
The local ham depot wants their building to be the triangle next to the tree line. We need to get the coordinates to Fried Build-A-Burger. Stat. What are the coordinates of this vertex? You did it! What are the coordinates of this vertex? Oops, that is not the coordinate point. Try again. That's right. What are the coordinates of this vertex? You did great!
Okay, now we have the perfect spot for the ham depot. On to the movie theater. Fried Build-A-Burger already placed the points. He asked us to check the lengths of the bases before we proceed.
How long is the bottom base of the trapezoid? Excellent, my dear. How How long is the top base of the trapezoid?
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct.
Not exactly. Check the length of the top base of the trapezoid and try again. Splendid, my dearie. The trapezoid is the right size, so the movie theater location is ready to go.
Next, we need to find the location of the new post office.
I'm not so sure about you, Human, but I like my post offices to be rectangular.
What are the coordinates of the point that will complete this rectangle? You nailed it! The post office is now ready for construction. All we need now is a way to get around town.
Here are the bus stops that are planned for the transportation needs in the town. How many blocks is it from the school bus stop to the theater bus stop? How many blocks is it from the school bus stop to the theater bus stop? Remember, you need to find the difference between the y coordinates because the road is parallel to the y-axis. Try again.
Are you ready for the biggest summer ever? Go big with Altice One. Now only $64.99 a month for the first year. That's up to 200 meg internet, 4K Ultra HD TV, and over 220 channels, plus a $200 Amazon.com gift card. Altice One, only at Optimum.
How many blocks is it from the school bus stop to the theater bus stop? Nice work!
How many blocks is it from the theater bus stop to the housing bus stop? How many blo- How many blo- How many How many How many How many How many
Just wasted 10 seconds of your life.
Great job!
Sometimes I like to just count the blocks instead, especially if there are negative numbers.
I agree, dear Bella. Just make sure you don't count your starting position or you'll get it wrong every time.
Cool! We designed a blueprint for an eco-town.
A coordinate plane is the perfect thing to use when planning a city. You just need to remember a few. Number 1. In a coordinate, the x comes first and then the y. Take this point for example. First the 2, then the 6. Number 2, if 2 points make a horizontal line, then you can use the difference between the x coordinates to find the length. In this case, it's 6. Number 3, if 2 points make a vertical line, then you can use the difference between the y coordinates to find the length. Looks like it's 5 this time.
Dear Mr. Bilderberger, thank you for the honor of selecting me, Tool Bella, to design the layout of your new eco-town.
There she goes, taking all the credit again.
Welcome to us. Click the circles. See you next time. Welcome to us. Click the circles.
So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy. White shirt, not with my blood, no sleeping. You're on your tippy toes, creeping around like a no. Think you're so criminal. Bruises. So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy. So you're a tough guy. White shirt, now with my blood, no sleeping. You're on your tippy toes, creeping around like no one knows. Think you're so criminal. Bruises on both my knees for you, don't see. Thank you, oh please, I do what I want when I'm wanting to. My soul, so cynical. So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy. I'm not that type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend that type, might seduce your dad type. I'm the bad guy. Duh. I like it when you take control, even if you know that you don't own me. I'll let you play the role, I'll be your animal. My mommy likes to sing along with me, but she won't sing the song if she reads already. She'll pity the men I know. So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't Guess I'm pretty glad that you're alone. You said she's scared of me. I mean, I don't see what she sees, but maybe it's 'cause I'm wearing your cologne. So you're a tough guy. So you.
Now look at this net.
See you next time. Welcome to us. Click the circles.
So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so. Welcome to
See you next time.
I have ever played within my life. When we finally get on the point, everyone dies. I understand that every now and then a team will click. When it comes to you, I don't think I can sympathize. Should have picked mercy. Should have picked any kind of support. You ended up losing, and it's all your fault. You should learn how this game works. You should have been helping.
If you like Mercy so much, why don't you just marry her?
So you're the type that gets a mic and tries to lecture me. You're the most useless person we have on our team. I've never seen anybody rage quite as hard as you. Maybe you should go back to playing Team Fortress 2. I'm not gonna be Mercy. I'm not gonna be any kind of support. We ended up losing, and you got all mad, but tears are what I look for.
You should have been Mercy.
I'm not gonna be any kind of support.
You ended up losing, and it's all your fault.
Your tears are what I look for.
Tracer.
I'm already Tracer.
What about Widowmaker?
I'm already Widowmaker.
I'll be Bastion.
Nerf Bastion.
You're right, so Winston.
I wanna be Winston.
I guess I'll be Genji.
I'm already Genji.
Then I'll be McCree.
I already chose McCree.
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
You should be.
I'm not gonna be Mercy.
You should have picked Mercy.
I'm not gonna be any kind of support.
You ended up losing, and it's all your fault.